Hey, thanks for being here. My name is Brian, and this is my second month of being an income driven investor. I'm literally practicing for my own self thought and experimentation in real time, working on replacing my income after leaving my most recent job. I've worked in Bitcoin financial services at multiple startups over the past 6 years. I've talked to thousands of Bitcoiners, both online and in person, about Bitcoin personal finance. I'm very passionate about personal finance and the philosophy of Bitcoin replacing fiat money. What's new about October is, like I said, it's the second month that I've been income driven. So I think Bitcoin is like the apex asset. I think it's uniquely on its own, like just sphere. I think it's fully uniquely in its own bucket. Okay. So up until this point, my wife and I have been 100% invested in real estate and Bitcoin, and that was it. And real estate is like our long-term cash flow play of income, and then Bitcoin is basically our emergency fund, stock investing, like retire, like kind of just savings for big life expenses. It's kind of just all, just stored up labor all in one thing. We kind of use that for everything. And I mean everything, like our Roth IRA, our health savings account, all have the FBTC ETF in them. So just the regular spot Bitcoin ETF. But then um, and then just regular on-chain Bitcoin as well. But that's what brings us to now last month and this month was that I kind of scoured the Bitcoin income funds that were out there and picked BTCI. So I'm not really going to be I'm not building a diversified income portfolio. I'm not building a like comparison of the different covered call Bitcoin portfolios. Like I think it's pretty evident that BTCI is the best one in this category as measured by assets under management, even just like because you can kind of get in the weeds of the different strategies that different ones of them do. But I just think the assets under management speaks for itself, and this is the largest one. And this is also a growing trend that isn't going away because ARK Investments just announced that they're going to be making one of these funds. BlackRock just announced that they're going to be making one of these funds, and so I really I like this I like the distribution percentage that the NEOS team is aiming for, and I like that it's just simple Bitcoin ETF exposure, and I like that they don't write the covered calls on the entire portfolio. So that was my rationale in choosing BTCI. And now I'm going to scale up this portfolio, but what I've really been trying to do for September and October is I really just want to feel how, with my own money, how the fund reacts, how the product reacts based on different Bitcoin prices. Because the alternative way to produce income from Bitcoin is by simply just holding it and selling it. And there's an argument to be had that way is better. Now, a lot of people also like to throw loans in here, like taking loans as a way to drive income. I've taken Bitcoin backed loans for one-off large purchases. It's hard for me to wrap my head around how that solves income replacement. And so I'm open to having that ongoing discussion. I want to have that ongoing discussion. We have like a Bitcoin think tank Discord channel for this channel to talk about stuff like that. I'm genuinely interested in exploring that. Just as I've wrapped my head around it so far, I just don't see that as an income replacement thing, even though Bitcoin backed loans are good products as well. And so with that, let's hit the numbers. I've invested a total of $27,155 over two buys. One was in September, one was in October. You can see that we own a total of 460 shares of BTCI, and I'm going to show it to you on Fidelity first, what it looks like exactly on the back end. I'm going to keep this, ideally, because I'm kind of OCD, I'm going to keep this exactly clean inside Fidelity so we can just pull the exact numbers from there. And then this is the spreadsheet that I'm using to map out that feeling that I'm trying to gauge on these first couple months between the way that BTCI behaves versus the way that Bitcoin price behaves. And so to answer the question of just how much do we get paid in October, it was $597. So month of October for 460 shares, it paid out $1.30 per share, $597. So the thing I really want to key in on is, and I'm going to be tracking the buys and the distributions all in just this same spreadsheet. So it's all in one place. The thing I really want to key in on is how the total return of BTCI acts compared to the total return of Bitcoin. And so what I've done to do that total return on Bitcoin is so I didn't want to dive all the way into like all the 0 point, like exactly how much Bitcoin it would have been in an alternate thing. So what I did was, if that same dollar amount had gone into Bitcoin, just what percentage of it was bought at the first buy versus what percent of it was bought at the second buy. So it's like, of the $27,155 that was invested, like 87% of it was on that first buy, 13% of it was on that other buy. And that's what's going to show how the like buying of the dips or buying of the peaks kind of like evens out with buying the dips and peaks of BTCI. And so you can see that over these first 2 months, BTCI is outperforming Bitcoin. So it's losing less. Like in a downtrend of Bitcoin price, BTCI lost less, which I think this functionally makes sense. That functionally makes sense because covered calls are selling away the upside. You're selling away the upside price appreciation for collecting the premium on the call option today. So it makes sense that BTCI would outperform Bitcoin in a down market, and we should be able to, and I hope we will get a month of where Bitcoin price rips up, and we should be able to see BTCI lag the Bitcoin price. And I've know this in theory, and I've watched other videos about it in theory, but it's a whole different thing when you feel it with your own money. And so that's my main goal with this, is just like these early months is feeling with my own money so that I can scale into it and really start to rack up that monthly distribution. One thing that is frustrating about these types of dividend funds is that the brokerage accounts don't do a great job of showing total return. They just show the principal fluctuation up and down, which I don't understand why. Like, dividend investors we should like all call customer service in mass and just be like, hey, update your app to give total return, so we don't have to keep using spreadsheets and like third-party sites to track total return. But so that's the reason why, like, the Fidelity screen, if you're new to dividend investing, income investing, that's the reason why the Fidelity screenshot shows just like much more down. And then that's the reason why other funds, like I said, my primary thing is not to compare all the different versions of this, but there's some really aggressive versions of this. And so BTCI from Neos is, I think, a perfect blend of income with still upside appreciation, whereas some others skew all the way towards income. And you'll see, if you look at just the return on a brokerage account of that, it's really negative, but it's not taking into account the distributions that they're getting along the way. And so, yeah, you would think the brokerage sites would be able to update that a little more intelligently. But so I'm also still evolving the way that I want to compare this strategy of the Bitcoin covered call funds versus buying Bitcoin itself, because to be super, super clear, like on the point, like the point is to produce monthly income, like produce consistent monthly income. That is the number one overarching goal. The number one overarching goal of this specific finance bucket is not stacking sats. Like, it's not stacking sats. It's not stacking up Bitcoin savings. It's to produce monthly income. And so there's not a lot of examples out there of people that are like buying Bitcoin and then living off of it yet, which frustrates some people. And I think that's why financial independent, retire early type investors haven't fully like gotten on the Bitcoin train, is because there's not a ton of examples of that. And when you keep seeing people just like, what was the most recent one? The guy, he like works for Tether now. He used to work for the government, but he just like tweeted again, like, never sell your Bitcoin. And I'm just like, dude, what? Like, that's so confusing and weird to say that. Like, that's not, it's just confusing. It's just confusing to say that. And so I don't take that philosophy. I take the philosophy of like Bitcoin is a better currency than dollars. Dollars is currently the currency that is used in like paying bills. And so we live in a dual currency world. The same way that other countries have to deal with a soft currency and a hard currency, America is now the same way. There's a hard currency and a soft currency. And these I think covered calls are a really interesting innovation that help you almost automate the balancing of both currencies. And so holding a specific amount of upside Bitcoin appreciation while getting, monthly dollar distributions is a really interesting blend that, has served really well for these first 2 months. And so I'm excited to keep seeing where it goes from here. If you made it all the way to the end, I think you would really enjoy being a channel member. It's a few bucks a month and you can cancel anytime. You can get members only live streams, join our private Discord chat for members of this channel. It's called the Bitcoin Personal Finance Think Tank. And so really trying to bring together people that are evolving the way that they incorporate Bitcoin into their personal finances. We have growth people, we have business owners, we've got real estate people, we've got people that go hard on dividend funds. And so it's a really good mix. Click join right next to the subscribe button and we'll see you on the next one.